All right, hey there. Welcome to another deep dive. We've got something a little bit different for you today. It's just for you actually.
Wow. Okay.
So you sent that piece about impermanence,
Right.
and we're gonna dive into that today.
Cool.
And to help me out with that, we've got our expert here.
Absolutely excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So this excerpt, right? It starts off strong.
Okay.
It just says everything is temporary,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes on to list these things: emotions, thoughts, people,
Right.
scenery, and like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Then it concludes by saying, do not become attached. Just follow with it. We are all just travelers in this temporary world. It's kind of like,
It's deep.
yeah, it's deep.
I think that's the point.
It really makes you stop and think.
It really does.
I mean, have you ever felt like just swept away by some really strong emotion?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or what about like clinging to something
Mm-hmm.
that you knew in your heart couldn't last?
I think we've all been there.
This excerpt, it's like it takes these big philosophical ideas
Yeah.
and it kind of throws them right at your own personal experiences.
Yeah. And, it's not just some new age idea, this whole impermanence thing. I mean, philosophies like Stoicism, Buddhism, they've been dealing with this for centuries.
Wow.
It's this core principle to understand like what it even means to be human, and recognizing that things are always changing, that nothing stays the same. Well, that's key to like moving through life's ups and downs.
Okay. Yeah.
With a bit more grace, a bit more acceptance.
I get that. I get that intellectually.
Yeah.
But like when I'm actually in it, when a tough emotion hits or I'm holding on to something, I know I can't keep this whole flow idea.
Yeah.
How do we actually do that?
So it's not about just being passive and letting things happen to you.
Okay.
It's more about recognizing that when we resist, that's when we create more suffering.
So it's like adding more fuel to the fire almost.
Exactly. Like imagine you're clinging to a rope and you're getting pulled down a raging river, right?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you're going to wear yourself out. You're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah.
Flow is about learning to swim with the current,
Okay.
to adapt to the changes that are always happening.
Okay, so how do we learn to swim?
Well, first you got to realize you're even in the river. Become aware of what you're resisting.
Right.
What are those thoughts, those feelings, even behaviors that you're clinging to so tightly that are causing you stress or holding you back?
So like fear of failure, maybe?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Keeps so many people stuck.
What about like wanting a relationship to stay the same, even when it's clear things have changed?
Right, absolutely. It's that clinging that causes the pain.
Right.
So once you kind of see that resistance, that's when you can start practicing acceptance.
Acceptance, okay.
And this doesn't mean you have to like the situation. It's more about acknowledging it, seeing it for what it is,
Okay.
without judgment.
Without judging.
Yeah. Exactly.
Easier said than done, though, right?
For sure. But there are tools that can help.
Okay, like what?
Mindfulness practices, they can be really helpful. Just paying attention to your breath, noticing your thoughts and feelings, but not letting them, sweep you away.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But if everything really is temporary, like what's the point of even trying to achieve goals?
That's a great question. And, a lot of people get tripped up on that, but embracing impermanence, it doesn't make goals pointless.
Okay.
It actually allows you to approach them differently.
How so?
Well, instead of clinging to this rigid outcome, you can focus on the journey. Be open to adapting, as you go.
So it's not about the destination?
Not entirely, no. Think of it like sailing.
Okay.
You've got a destination in mind, but you've got to be ready to adjust your course based on, the wind and the waves.
So you're still moving towards something.
Right. But you're not attached to one specific way of getting there.
So it's more about enjoying the process, even if the goal itself changes along the way.
Precisely. Yeah. And even if you don't end up exactly where you thought you would, the skills you learn, the experiences you have, those will always be valuable.
That reminds me of this time I was planning this big cross-country road trip. I had everything planned out, every stop,
I know the feeling.
And then, first day, my car breaks down.
Oh, no.
I was so frustrated. But then I thought, wait a minute, this is a chance to like really go with the flow.
Yeah.
I ended up renting this like quirky vintage van.
Wow.
And I found all these amazing places that I never would have seen if I had stuck to the original plan.
That's awesome.
You see, that's what I'm talking about.
That's a perfect example. You resisted at first.
Yeah.
But then you chose to flow with the change. And it opened up this whole new adventure.
So for you listening, think about it. Where are you resisting change in your life?
What possibilities might be hiding within those challenges?
And what if you really embrace the fact that everything is temporary?
Right.
Would it change how you live day to day?
Yeah. Would it affect your relationships? Even your long-term goals?
Would you be more present, more appreciative?
More open to new experiences?
Right. These are all things to think about.
A lot to unpack there.
Right?
Yeah.
But the big takeaway here is that change, it's going to happen.
It's part of life.
It doesn't have to be something we fear.
Exactly.
When we understand impermanence
and
we accept it, we can move through life with more grace, more resilience, and maybe even a bit more adventure.
Absolutely.
So keep thinking about these ideas and see how they can change your perspective. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Expert speaker,